Hi, it's Dave Michaels. I'm in Dubai at Sprinklr Source with Ragy Thomas, the CEO of Sprinklr. And I gotta say, I've learned a lot about Sprinklr at this event. This is you were like off my radar. And I think you're off the radar for a lot of the comms people, because you're kind of new to comms. I mean, 2 years isn't new, but the way you've been coming at it. So just briefly, talk about Sprinklr. How big are you? How many employees? Things like that.
Yeah. So we're a public company, and so anyone wanting the stats of the company can find it. NYSE, the ticker is CXM.
CXM,
which stands for Customer Experience Manager.
A new category that you are inventing.
Yes, we think we are creating this category called Unified Customer Experience Manager. I say we think, it's only because we don't know what you all are going to call it, but we know there's a new emerging category that we know we're going to find. And what we're trying to build is, loosely think of it as an operating system that connects everybody who touches the customer within a company, which is a hard concept because we're used to seeing the enterprise front office stack in distinct segments. We have sales software, we have customer service software, we have inside software, we've got marketing software, advertising software, and no one's really pieced it all together. The best that we've done is this idea of a CRM database that all of these different companies can connect.
So much of what we see is this concept kind of centered around the agent experience, because you're trying to get the agents to be consistent with how they talk to the customers. There's a lot of conversation around the consistent customer experience and improving the customer journey. But you're not coming at it from the agent experience. I mean, that you get to the agent, but you're coming at it from a brand, I guess.
Correct.
And so I thought it was really interesting the way you talked about how brands have so many different touch points to the customer. I mean, it was like hundreds of thousands, more than I ever would have thought.
Millions.
Could you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, so I'll just bring it to life. Let's use the example of Jaguar Land Rover, which was here in the room yesterday. And if I'm Jaguar Land Rover, I'm trying to build the Jaguar brand, or the Land Rover brand. And now I've got a situation where I'm operating in, I'm not accurate, but think about 50 to 100 different countries. I've got my brand in 100 countries. In every country, I'm selling cars. I'm doing some brand advertising. I'm doing some marketing. I'm sending emails. I've got a website. But then I'm also running a service center. And then I got, in every country, I got, like, let's say 50, 100, a few hundred dealers. And every dealer is running their own service center, they're running their own ad campaigns, their own running marketing campaigns. And everyone's taking different pictures of the vehicle, everyone's speaking to the customers differently. And the experience that you have when you drive into a dealership or call for service at every dealer is different. And if I'm a dealer, let's say in Monroe, New Jersey, that sells Land Rovers or Jaguars, I'm using 5 different channels to market.
Just that one dealer.
I'm sending email, which is email marketing. I'm posting on Facebook. I'm maybe buying a local TV spot. I'm buying ad in a magazine, and service there. I've got a phone line. I've got a WhatsApp number. I've got an email address. Now think about how your brand is getting fragmented, and if you literally count every channel, every function, every market, every business unit, and count the number of touch points. If you're a bank, think about every branch that you have and how they're doing outreach in that market. You get this idea of the edge of your brand, where your customer meets you everywhere.
Right.
So when you think about the traditional technology stack in a company, you're typically thinking about CRM systems, which is I bought a car, I called in for service. But that's a very reactive bit of transactional data. And most companies have no idea what is going on at the edge of the brand. In fact, they're not even counting the touch points at the edge. But now we present to you the problem of how do you get content orchestrated? How do you get campaigns orchestrated? How do you speak on brand? How do you have consistent experience? In a world
that is now connected. 4 billion people are online and connected. They talk to each other. Your brand is what they experience. You can no longer get away with bad contact center experience because they talk to each other and it ruins your brand. So we think that all the value that the brand is going to have is created at the edge. All the risk is at the edge. Your cost is at the edge. The truth is at the edge. And it's about time, as a brand, you start thinking about connecting all the dots on the edge so that a consumer feels like they're speaking to Jaguar, the brand, and they're having a consistent experience. And that's impossible today.
What I find so interesting about this is a lot of the CCaaS providers, they talk about multi-channel, they have all these different channels, but social is kind of an optional channel. It's kind of an extra channel, but you're starting there. You're coming from a totally different direction, and that's one of the I would say the core of what you're really building your multi-channel experience around.
Right. Omni-channel.
And the other thing that really stood out to me was a lot of, because you're relatively new to the contact center space, most new providers are starting with very small implementations. But because of where you're at with your current customer base, and you've been at Sprinklr is what, 12 years old? 13, oh sorry. So you're coming at it, you have much larger, you're not coming at it from a SMB, you're coming at it from a large enterprise perspective.
Right, so we work with, I would say, most of the largest brands in the world. We work with all 10 of the biggest brands. If you look at Forbes list, we work with about 80 of the top 100. We work with 13 of the 14 largest banks, 7 of the 8 largest CPG companies, pretty much all tech companies that you can think of with the exception of 1 or 2. So we have significant scale. The reason we're not a household name is we're just very focused on the biggest brands in the world, not the logo count. That's why most people don't know.
Not a household name, more of a castle name.
And we're not, people think we're new to the contact center. Yes, we are, because the last channel we added was voice, and that's 2-3 years old. But you know the bulk of the service, the contact center agents are still voice-based.
You're digital first, and then and now you've added voice. And
we've been doing social customer service for 12 years. We've been doing digital customer service for 7 years, and we just added voice 3 years ago and built out, all the other contact center capabilities like workforce management and all the other stuff that we need to run large contact centers. That's what's new about us, and we just perfected omni-channel. The social is not one channel. We were supporting 33 channels before we added the last 4 or 5. And a lot of things that we figured out, how to digitize, how to do smart routing, AI-based conversation management, single instance deployment. Now we're just bringing that to the contact center, which is why we are the different kid on the block.
And that AI piece, that is the obligatory piece we have to have in every video now. So let me ask you just a little bit about that, because you did a demo with how you're using ChatGPT for digital channels, and it had the agent, it gave the agent almost a complete answer that they could just cut and paste. Can you kind of touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, that's our smart replies feature that you're talking about. And by the way, given what we do, it should be obvious to you why we got into AI like 5 years ago, before AI was sexy. So now AI, everybody talks about AI.
It's obligatory.
Yeah. But that's the only way. Like, our backend is not a relational database like the traditional CRM systems. Our backend is built to support natural language processing. Our AI has 8 layers to it: understanding images, detecting languages, getting intent, sentiment, mapping it back to verticals. There's a lot of complicated stuff that we have been doing for many, many years. What we're doing with ChatGPT, and there's 40 to 60 integrations that we have rolled out and are rolling out, what it does is anything that ChatGPT and OpenAI can do better than us, we are just plugging that in. And what you saw, the couple of features that use the smart replies, it's actually our AI. You can plug in ChatGPT to do it. Smart summarization is something that we think ChatGPT is better at doing, so that we're doing. The challenge that we're trying to solve with ChatGPT is, as it stands now, OpenAI is indexing, unbound data, like we don't quite control it. And the outcome is unpredictable. What we are doing is putting a layer on it
So you can train them on bound data, because if you are the government of Qatar, who's a country that's rolled out Sprinklr across all ministries, or you are Microsoft, or you are P&G, you can't afford for an AI to blurt out something
Absolutely.
that is not on brand. So that's the layer we're putting on it, and together we're much more powerful.
All right, we're just going to wrap this up with one final question, which was your mission statement. I thought it was beautiful. Why don't you go ahead and describe what
Yeah.
Sprinklr should be?
Well, a vision is to create the world's most loved enterprise software company. Because enterprise software is not exactly not known for things
Big
you
love.
love. Yeah, you have the word, I have to put up with a vendor. So what we're trying to do, what Amazon did in retail,
Yes.
we're trying to do in enterprise software. So it's super important for us not just to sell, but to make sure that every customer who's trusting us with their career, in many cases, you know, we're giving them our complete attention, and we deal with very complex software, so things go wrong, but we want to create a company that you can trust and you can love.
Well, the first step to doing that is to make the most loved analyst events, and Dubai has just been, this has been a fantastic event.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us out here. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.